Hiya! My name is Jinx, and this is my first ever doll customizing video. I'm an artist and an animator and an avid doll collector. Welcome to my chaos! Today, we're going to be taking a prototype Vivified Doll's acrobat and turning her into a winter fairy high priestess. Wow, what a mouthful. I'll explain it all in the video, and all links will be in the description box below. Enjoy! I collect a variety of dolls, from fashion dolls to ball-jointed dolls. For those who do not know, a ball-jointed doll, or BJD, is a resin doll strung in elastic. And today, we're going to be customizing a BJD. Our doll base, as stated previously, is a Vivified Doll's acrobat. Though she is a prototype, she is in the 1/12th scale, which is the classic dollhouse scale. I must sing the praises of the doll artist with this doll. She's extremely well articulated, and my best poser out of all of my dolls. Vivified Dolls is one of my favorite artists and extremely underrated, so go follow them on Instagram. I am not sponsored, I just think their work is amazing. I do not have a pre-planned sketch for this doll, and everything was done from an idea in my head, so please forgive me. And with all that said, let's go on to the customizing. I started the face up by taking purple chalk pastels and blushing the face and ears. This doll will get a full body blushing, but to start, we work on the face. All supplies, I wrote ingredients in my script, but their supplies are in the description box below. And for reference to those who have never customized before, I gave her 2 sprays of Mr. Super Clear UV Flat before I started work on her blushing. And since I don't mention it elsewhere, I also give her 1 spray in between layers when color is no longer building. This gives me a solid base for all the pastels to adhere to. Now, this doll is probably a poor doll to show for my first doll. I accidentally did a lot of work off camera. Her head is the size of my thumb just about, and trying to do everything in front of a camera is impossible, so we may skip ahead in some parts occasionally. Just know for sketching on her eyeliner or eyebrows, I used watercolor pencils. I use extremely cheap ones, so don't even ask what brand. They constantly break, and I need to get good ones soon. I used a variety of brushes to blush her, using human makeup brushes alternating between smaller and larger brushes depending on where I was working, occasionally erasing and reapplying where I felt it was needed. Unlike usual, I did not do her lips, or rather I didn't leave color on the lips. Without a kneading eraser, I was never able to get a sharp line on the lips without making it look messy. Though, spoiler alert, even when I get a kneading eraser, I struggle. Her face is just so tiny, and it's hard to make the lines look good. So we are all pretending that the face doesn't have minor issues. Now onto the body. The body took me a few layers to get the right color, but to start, I focused on her upper body for ease, specifically blushing her shoulders, elbows, and fingertips, as well as her tummy and on her chest. There's one issue with this doll, I must say right off the bat. The body blushing will most likely eventually rub off, and has already started in some places. I just like the doll too much. She's like a pocket doll for me, and I mess with her a lot, so the blushing on her elbows and joints do not stand a chance. So if you ever see her in the future videos and wonder why her blushing is blotchy, that is the reason why. We are back at the face. This is take 1 of lip blushing, and of course my failure at doing so. I must ask if there's any issues like lighting being weird or angle or anything else, please ignore it. This is my first ever attempt, and sometimes things look off or things get changed later. In my next doll video, there will be an entire section and how I recorded for 1 clip and then it changes back. I am learning and trying. I've admired doll creators for years. Customizers are the reason I started collecting, and I've always wanted to do it. When I moved, I decided I would try. So every doll I customize from now on will be recorded and added here. It's something I've always wanted to do, and I'm going to do it. My phone's memory may take a hit, but sometimes you gotta try to do your dreams. I currently have like 4 other videos planned with 2 actively in the works. When this releases, so more videos will come out soon. I do wish this would have come out sooner, and I tried my hardest, but it just wasn't feasible. The reason I wanted it to come out sooner is ideally it would have been nice to release it before Vivify's Acrobat pre-order ended at the end of December. The dolls are super well done, and I wanted to do a small shout out because of how much I love the dolls. Oh well. I believe Vivify is doing more pre-orders in the future, so I highly suggest you follow them on Instagram if interested. Again, not sponsored, I just love the dolls. Back to on topic, I don't know how this will be finally edited. When I'm writing this, her outfit and wings are not done, but are going to be worked on soon. But I figure I should mention, editing this will be a pain. At 2x speed, the full face-up process is 20 minutes alone. Well, that's been the biggest hurdles. I've been trying too hard, fairly, to try and figure out what to cut and what to edit and what to show off. What footage is good footage? How long until people get bored of one section? All things I've debated on heavily. Hopefully I get a good system eventually. If you have any suggestions, feel free to comment them below. Now we're on to the eyeliner and eyebrows. We're mainly just darkening them up, making them look a little bit better. The eyebrows are a bright pink. Her hair ends up being brown in the end. We'll see if that looks okay. I feel weird changing them from a hot pink now because they've been hot pink for so long, but I think it should be up to you guys. Comment below if you think we should keep them as like a pink, which by the way, I'm using a purple pencil, but it looks pink. If you think we should keep them a pink, comment down below. If you think I should just bite the bullet and change them to brown, also comment that. I don't know. I've been staring at this doll for weeks, months even. We went ahead and stole the hair from the Spirit Riding Free doll I got secondhand. Poor girl's legs are absolutely unusable. Maybe I'll use her for a future custom or something. Her legs are just so floppy. And what do you know, the second I stopped recording, they break off and shatter. Anyways, I stole all of her hair and used it for little Gretchen here, and I didn't record the process. In my defense, this is my second wig ever. I wasn't super confident and thus did it without having to record. It's not the best example to make wigs by any means, and it is messy overall, especially on the top. I mean, look at that. I blame the fact she's 1/12 scale. It was just so hard hiding the glue and flipping wefts in such a small scale. I just gave up. I tried to do a good part, but it just wasn't worth it. I was struggling. Regardless, she has her wig, and now we get to move on to the clothes and wings. Because yeah, she is wings. She's a fairy after all. Onto the outfit. Now, I have a fabric stash. In fact, I have a big fabric stash. It's in like a 15-gallon gray tote, but you know where it isn't? It isn't where I live right now. It's about 3 hours south at my grandma's house in the town I used to live in. As if you remember during me talking about how much I love dolls earlier, I moved recently. Confetti effects or something. I don't know how to edit. Just imagine confetti showing up on screen. I've been here for 2 months as of recording this, and my doll house for my 1/6 dolls and my fabric stash are still 3 hours away. Yay. So I took a good old trip to Michael's, rest in peace Joann's, and looked at their frankly kind of small fabric supply and grabbed a beautiful satin, I think. It frays like there's no tomorrow, and it's probably not a good beginner fabric for someone learning how to sew doll clothes, but since when have I cared? I do what I want. I make mistakes. I'm learning to hand sew. Yeah, that's important. You see, I can machine sew. I've made an entire Edwardian S-bend corset for myself, but sewing for dolls, another ballgame. They're so tiny, and sewing machines love to eat tiny fabric, which is a big oh no moment. So I'm learning to hand sew, which means this is not perfect. I'm super proud of it. My motto in life is that you have to try. If you don't try, then you'll never learn. Plus, it has a handmade quality, which is nice. First, I sewed up the bodice pieces, which was a struggle. Maybe I should have tried the bottom hem of the skirt, which is noticeably straight and long, and also not in a very clearly noticeable spot everyone will point out. But I was excited to start the bodice. It was tempting me, so I went ahead and started. It was hard. I had pins, which did help, but to all the hand sewing people out there, I have the utmost respect. This is hard, and the needle's tiny, and I stabbed myself a few times because I'm clumsy, but I did it. It's a mess, but I did it. It took me a long time, I'd like to say. Both pieces took me like 25 minutes total, which to be fair, isn't that long, but I have ADHD. But I did find it relaxing. Just chilling, listening to YouTube, sewing, cursing at myself because, oh no, you didn't do that right, silly. But I did enjoy it. One thing I don't believe is shown, you know, Editor Jinx, write a note if I'm wrong, is when I was adding the button and elastic. Now, remember the aforementioned moving? Well, I have so many supplies in my stash, including snaps and Velcro, but neither of those I have here. And at this point, I didn't want to go to the store. It was 5:30 p.m. I had a stream in an hour, so I looked around and realized I'd hit the jackpot. The hand sewing kit I'd bought had buttons. I happened to have really shitty thin elastic, bad for BJDs, great for crafts. I took to work carefully sewing on the button elastic on opposite sides, making sure the elastic had enough tension to loop around the button and stay once there. It worked perfectly. You know what didn't work perfectly? The skirt. The skirt no longer closes in the back. I seemingly miscalculated how big it needed to be. I mean, I used the tape method, but she was so tiny that I don't think it measured her entire size right. Or maybe I didn't add enough seam allowance or something. Hell if I know, really. But just know I quickly remedied it. How, you may ask? By doing something so complicated, it'd make people question my sanity. Question if I was mentally sound. Question where I was going with such an intervention. Yeah, no, I just added a panel to the back. It's not even perfect. I stole it from the scrap from where I cut the pieces. I didn't want to get out the entire half yard of fabric again, so I fudged it. And it worked just fine. Never admit to messing up. Fix it in a way that seems intentional. Overall, with her dress, I'm super happy with how it turned out. Like, this is my first attempt at hand sewing and my first full doll. I've tried sewing before for 1/4 and 1/3 scale with a machine, but even then I never got the look right. It feels like sewing for dolls has always been a struggle because they are tiny. But frankly, despite the fact it doesn't always look perfect, I really enjoy that it turned out as a wearable piece. Maybe I'll remake it in the future when I get better, but as of right now, I'm extremely happy with how her dress has turned out. And I'm proud of myself for attempting a new skill. I'm going to be trying to sew all my doll outfits from now on in this channel, and maybe you can see me grow. Now, I must admit, I struggled so badly with the split in the dress. Oh my god, I don't even think half of it is recorded. Hey guys, pro tip. If you're completely new to hand sewing, don't decide, I'm going to do a split style dress, because that is a bad idea and it will make you regret your life choices. Another pro tip, don't use satin for your first project. Did you know it likes to fray? Like a lot. Like enough to make you question if your outfit will ever be completely done or if it'll be just a pile of fray by the end. And you can't use fray check because it makes a noticeable spot, which makes you regret your life decisions even more. But this was also the best fabric you could get at Michael's, besides a fabric that was $12.99 a yard. But also I low-key regret not getting that fabric for one main reason. It was sparkly and pretty. God, I'm such a magpie with shiny things. Give me all the shine, give me all the sparkle. If it's not cute, throw it out. This is the last bit of my sewing process, basically. At the moment, we are sewing up the last part of the back. And oh my god, at times, I thought we wouldn't finish this. I thought it was going to completely disintegrate and we would not be able to close the back because it started fraying so bad. And I got so scared, chat. But it worked and it's done and I'm happy. Now onto the wings. I'm using wire, what gauge and such. I have zero clue. It's stainless steel, that I'm pretty sure, but besides that, I have zero clue. My goal is to use this sketched idea as a template to mold the wire around. It's pretty simple, right? It's a bit weird because it's an awkward shape, but I eventually get it. My goal is to take the excess wire and wrap it perhaps around her torso, or maybe around the dress when it's on. If it's around the dress, it'll be a mix between functional and decorative, which will be nice, since I was thinking of adding gems and such to the dress to give it some detail and pizzazz. Will I succeed? Maybe. My goal is to perhaps make it so it bends to her in the back and the front looks almost like a belt, because I cannot for the life of me get the ends to not be sharp, and I do not want to ruin her dress. At this point, the back of her dress is a mess, and we are just never looking at her from the back. Also, around this point, I realize I never showed me blushing her lower body. I actually have it recorded, but it's a bit awkward to add in now, and you saw the process for the upper body, so let's just pretend you saw it. To be honest, I used so much Mr. Super Clear on her that I only did one layer of blush on her knees and feet. It doesn't match, but I don't want to use more MSC, and most of it is hidden. This is the point where I'm gonna be like, hey, you see all that work I just did? Yeah, I hate it. I have like 10 days before I want to release this. I have a scheduled TM, maybe, kind of. And I made the wings, and you'll see them probably on screen. They don't look good. Like, at all. And it's really disappointing because I worked really hard to make them look good. But they're too big, they're too bulky, the hot glue does not look right, and they do not work. So plan B. Let's just find Eliza's wings from Rainbow High. Yeah, I can't find them. Remember the whole moving thing? They're not anywhere I checked. As of right now, I have zero clue what I'll do. Maybe she just won't get wings. Maybe she doesn't need wings. She could be a fairy without wings, right, guys? So we left off on a very salty end. What now? I took some time to reflect and think, and then something nice happened. It snowed. I live in the south. I don't know how common it is to snow here, as I just moved. But as I saw the snowfall, I grabbed Gretchen and I took some pictures. And I realized I could make this work. Maybe it'll be a struggle, but I'll make it work. So I remade the dress. I didn't record me sewing it. It's the same steps, but machine sewed. I didn't have the space on my desk for a tripod in my sewing machine, so apologies. But with that, we are on to decorating the dress. I realized it felt plain, and even if this is kind of obnoxiously in your face, I love it. It feels like it sells the winter vibe. It was a struggle to pick up the tiny gems even with tweezers, but I made it work. As you can see when I'm decorating the dress, I use a bunch of tiny little gemstones, like half ones, you know, the nail dart stuff. And I also have this gem sequin bow that I put in the middle. And with the little tiny gemstones, I make a little snowflake shape. Small detail, but it made me happy to do. Now we are onto the wings. The main thing I changed this go around was that the wings didn't have clear plastic. While I was at the craft store, I realized something. I saw a picture of a kid with fairy wings. You know, the kind, maybe with sparkly tulle, and I was like, that's it. So I bought some sparkly tulle, sealing my fate of being covered in glitter, and I got home to go to work. It was a bit of a struggle, but I got it to work. I added various decorations and shiny bits to it to make it really say fairy wing, and I continued on my way. And I'm genuinely happy with how they turned out. I feel like I haven't really gotten into detail on what this doll is. Well, here's me explaining the lore, TM. Gretchen is a winter fairy who's a high priestess to the goddess of magic, Kira. A towering centaur who cares for all the subject of the woods. Gretchen is her second in command, a close confidant who helps her rule the people of the woods. This is basically a project that combines with a few other dolls I've been working on. We have Gretchen here, and we also have two other dolls I'm working on for this project. Anastasia, the new goddess of spring, who's the apprentice of Kira, and Kira herself. I may add more in the future as well, but for now, know they are in the trio of the story, which is unnamed and doesn't really have a story. I just wanted to make some of my dolls connect, and I think I've done a good job so far. Gretchen has been a blast to customize, and so is Anastasia. Kira is still sitting blank as I write this, but I swear it's for good reason, which is that I'm terrified to customize her. She's my most expensive doll yet, and I look at her and I'm terrified to start customizing her. But yeah, a Winter Fairy High Priestess to the Goddess of Magic sure is the title, and I think I did a good job portraying this, considering she's such a small doll. What do you think? Do you think I did a good job portraying the winter theme? I hope I did. Ever since I thought of using purple blush for Gretchen, I knew she had to be winter themed. Sadly, I'm in the south, so there's no snow to photograph her in when she's done, but I will do some cute photos for her at the end of this video. Do not worry. And with all that said and done, let's go to the photo shoot. I'm now realizing, as I'm putting all these photos up, one of her sequins on her top fell off, and I never fixed it, so ignore that. She's finally done. After months of hard work, after highs and lows, failures and trying again, after painstakingly putting all these little gemstones everywhere and making everything for her, she's my first complete doll. And I'm so proud of myself. I know that I seemed very down for a period there. I was hopeless. I felt like all this I've been doing has been useless to the final product. That I was never going to actually finish this video, and that if I did, everyone would point and laugh, but I finished it. And I'm so proud of myself that I did. Gretchen is amazing. I'm so excited to work on future customs, and I hope you join me too. Like and subscribe if you enjoyed this. I hope you did. Have a great day. Bye!